Welcome, viewers and subscribers. This is the fourth episode of the Kindness Superpower Podcast. Here, we have the author of this book of kindness. Her name is Dipna. Welcome, Dipna.
Thank you, Arjun. I'm so excited to be here today.
So, Dipna, what inspired you to write a book about kindness? Was it something particular that happened in your life?
So I wrote this book in 2020. That was during the pandemic, and I think the way life was, we had so much more time to also pause and reflect. And I think particularly around that time, I felt like I was receiving kindness in abundance from the world because my work blossomed. I started teaching online. I started meeting children from all over the world. And the love that I was receiving through these little children and the way that kept me going really made me think about my own practice and where does kindness fit in that. It was also a time when I think I was dealing with grief. I lost my Nana, who I was very close to, in 2017. And I think that I never really made sense of that grief. It would come in waves. But in 2020, I remember being this time when I felt that the grief had shape-shifted into love. And the recognition and realization that, oh my God, it's actually not grief. It's this abundance and of love that I feel, and I can't give it to him anymore because he's physically not here. But it felt like a gift from him, that feeling. And that was, I think, a realization for me that how can now I pour it back into the world? And I think those questions became so big for me that somehow this book, I think, then became like a outlet for a lot of those thoughts and questions and things that matter to me.
But you're so right. During pandemic, we really did see kindness coming from really the unknowns, and it was simple that you know your parents would call you X number of times, but it was just your neighbor who you never spoke to, decided to be open to sharing a cup of tea with you, or if you were shortage of anything in your house, all those elements. I absolutely agree, and we actually underplayed it. Now that I think of it, we never discussed it then, and I don't know. It was such a time that now I feel like we've forgotten about it.
I know, but I felt like it really gave us a glimpse of what life should actually be, to just pause and help somebody, or to even be open to receiving or asking for help, or even like meals. Even though we were doing everything ourselves, but just that sense of connection with the food, and to be grateful to have
that
access to food at that time also. And that I think made me also realize the ways in which the world we inhabit is so kind to us, and what are we really doing about it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, so your book beautifully describes the fact that this element is in our heart. And in one of the episodes, I think the last episode, we spoke about, the author of Tinkle was on the episode, and, she spoke about the different characters. And Arjun pointed out that, Kalia the crow is kind, but the fox is never kind because his nature inherently is to be clever. And his question that time was, do we have that kindness in our heart? And so yesterday when we read this, and then I spoke with him and I was like, see, this book says that we all have it. We have to bring that out. Do you want to just spend some time maybe?
But I understood, like, the foxes are around their nature. They have seen, like, the killing, the eating. So the foxes start growing clever. Then we know that they're clever. So then that's their habitat, to be clever, to eat meat, eat flesh. But we've not actually thought of being kind to the foxes once.
Yeah.
We always think of our kind.
Yeah, I agree. How did you feel about it when you were writing it? Like, where did the thought of it's inside all of us come from?
Because I feel that it is true. I mean, I think humans specifically have the potential to be kind. It's within all of us. It's like exercising a muscle. It's really, I think it is really that. It's about exercising a muscle. You do, and it will show results. So it's about that awareness. And it so often happens that You may have an experience with someone and you might think that they are unkind, but maybe in their own universe, to somebody they are. It doesn't always have to be to all, right? It's also about taking that moment to step back and notice and realize and recognize and dig in a little deeper sometimes.
That's such a good point, Arjun. Did you realize what she said? That it's not necessarily that we are, or necessary that we're kind to everybody at the same point. I could be going through something and then I was unkind, but then I'm kind to somebody else after that in 2 hours or something. So it's normal to not be kind always, like human nature.
Yes, but it's also, but you still need to be kind, because if you're also not kind to someone, you could also be damaging their feelings, including when yours are.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's absolutely right. And I think that's also where I think something about being kind to your own self comes in. I often feel people who end up being unkind are sometimes also not being kind to themselves. And maybe they're hurting. Maybe, it's like how when you also talk about bullying, right? That often people who become bullies are because they've been bullied. I mean, that's a common phenomena.
Absolutely.
And that also is something to think about. And the ways and shapes in which kindness can be experienced. And which was another thing that I thought, okay, how can we talk about that? Because it's so easy to say, be kind. But what does that mean? In some situation, it could mean affection. In some situation, it could mean care. In some situation, it could mean having the courage to speak up. So it also is something about how does kindness sort of take form?
Kindness, like you said, but there is a definition to that. Kindness can take form in any particular way, but you just need to be kind. So if like your friend did something by mistake to you, to speak up and say it's okay, that means being kind to them, can come in even unexpected ways.
I absolutely agree with you, Arjun. Yeah.
I also feel like when you speak about how you thought about writing this, because you're also an educator, do you teach kids?
I do. Do I teach kindness?
Yeah.
I think it's something that you cannot teach.
Yeah.
It's something you can embody. And from making it a practice of your own life, and once someone else receives it, there's no way you can not take on that energy and pass it forward. So when I think of kindness in spaces I inhabit, like my classroom, the studio, or even a rehearsal room, for me, it's not the expectation. It's the expectation is from me. Can I offer kindness? Because if I create that environment, I know for a fact that becomes the norm. That is the energy of that space. I also think, like for me, when I wrote this book, to be honest, though it's a children's book, it's also a book that most caregivers will read to their children.
Correct.
And it's a way of actually talking to them. Because we put so much pressure on children to be kind, and it's so one-directional that I feel it's really unfair. Because you can't expect them to be kind unless they know what it feels like to receive kindness, which means that it's the grown-ups or the adults that have to look at their own environments and their own lifestyle and their own behaviors and their own patterns and make kindness a very solid and strong part of their being before they even expect children to be kind.
Yeah, so rightly said. And
Yeah. I have one more question. Like, what is like one act of kindness that you've seen or you have given or someone's done, like someone gave you that kindness that surprised you the most?
I feel like there are so many, but maybe because we're talking about the book, I could possibly talk about this. So I wrote it in 2020, and this is my first published book, right? So to get a publishing house on board is very difficult if you are a first-time author.
Yes.
And I was also very clear about the illustrations that I wanted in the book. So I worked with an illustrator who's a dear friend, Sonal, who's done a fab job.
Yeah, I love that page, Arjun, where she says, when you eventually unveil what kindness is, it's such a happy page, this one.
Yeah. And there are a lot of tiny details that she made sure were part of the illustration. Because I remember telling her that, it doesn't have to be, it just has to be very subtly present. A lot of things have to be normalized. So growing up, I had two school friends who had vitiligo.
Okay.
And you will see that in the illustrations. We don't talk about
nice.
it. It's just there. There is a child with vitiligo. There is a child with Down syndrome.
Love
there
that.
are kids with chashma, because I got glasses when I was in grade 6 or 7. So, or there is a black cat, because I have two cats and I know for a fact that black cats have sometimes a tough time getting adopted. And they just,
Because of the notion that we have of black cats.
So
yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah.
a lot of or all animals in the book are neutered in the illustrations. You'll see a
beautiful.
3-legged dog. But these are not things that are part of the text of the book, but they're there very strongly there as the visuals.
Yes.
And I remember when the book sort of then was ready, when Sonal and I were done with it, I couldn't find any publishing house to take it on. A pandemic happened. So anyway,
yeah.
that business had slowed down.
Yeah.
And then in 2024, I was at a literature festival in Kerala for a performance and for workshop. But I met an author there. And we hit it off. And she happened to be from Bombay. And then we kept in touch. And in passing, I mentioned to her, I've written this book, but I don't know. It's been 4 years. Maybe I'll self-publish, or I don't know. And very randomly, she said, why don't you? So her name is Unmana. And she said, why don't you, if you're comfortable, send me, the manuscript and I'll pass it to my editor. Maybe she can guide or help. And I said, are you sure? She said, yes. So I've only known her for that 1 month,
Yeah.
And that was such a, it's out of her way to speak to her editor, send this, get, what is she getting out of it?
Absolutely.
It was just sheer, she's not even seen my work. And just to offer that act of kindness. And it so happened that the editor did like the book. And then she went on a maternity break and she said, but I want to take it on. And then I didn't hear from her for 6 months, obviously, because she was on a maternity break. The first week she got back to work, she kept her word. And in June, she dropped me an email saying, I still believe that this book needs to be out there. And so the way it actually had to happen, I think, was a chain of events that were purely out of people's hearts and just that offering that one moment of kindness has actually led to this coming out in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
It takes a while, Arjun, to publish because they have to be interested, and that's why it's such a
So
tough
you have to go to
process.
publishing house. Then the publishers will read the book.
Yes.
Then they have to be interested in the book. Then you have
Yes.
to publish it.
Yeah.
It's always complicated. That's why I have to make the right books.
Correct.
Yes, that is correct.
I also wanted to check with you, and because you're an educator, you deal with kids not only like you do drama as well, right?
Yeah. I'm a dance artist.
Okay.
So in the space of physical theatre, yes.
Okay. In that, like on a regular, in today's day and age where digital, all the kids are digitally savvy, how do you even talk to them about kindness? Because either they're suffering something online or they have, somebody has said something mean to them on, I don't know, like without a face. So everything is in the online world. Do you get asked that when you're like interacting with kids and, do you experience that?
So I work a lot with the early years.
Got it.
But I have my nieces and nephews who are very close to, who are in their teenage years. And I think we have a relationship where they do sometimes share and talk. But even with the early years, you do see moments of, someone being mean or nasty or not including, and
Yes.
I can't come to my birthday party. And, those moments happen,
Yes.
will not involve in the group.
Yeah.
And these situations do arise, yes. And I think those are very, often as caregivers, whether you're a parent or a teacher, often you think of diffusing the situation to get on to the next task, right? Because you have a meal to finish, you have a lesson plan to finish. But I feel the true moment of education is that,
Correct.
there. How do we navigate their emotions? How do we
Correct.
make them feel seen? How do we say that it's not a little feeling, it's a big feeling, and I hear you, and what can we
Yeah.
do about it? And to arrive at it through conversation and time, to give that, like to say, okay, I'm going to drop the plan that I had to teach, but I'm going to address this first. And to create that space where conversation is normalized,
Yeah.
where feelings are treated with respect.
Yeah. Absolutely. And sorry.
Yeah, so I wanted, when you said digital, we've been talking about kindness. We've been talking about walking, like moving around in your area, but we never talk digital kindness.
Yeah.
So, you have to be kind to others. Because, like you said, if someone's being bullied, they will turn into the bully. So, if someone's being bullied earlier, and now when all these digital things come, that's cyberbullying.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
So, basically, because of unkindness, we have cyberbullying.
100% Arjun, and that's such a valid point you've brought up, because I think your generation is more in the digital landscape than we are, and those are very real problems that you all face. And I mean, it's beautiful that you're talking about it, that bullying now has moved on to a space which is not a physical space, but it's a digital space. And at the core, you're right that it still boils down to how aware are we, how much can we notice of others'
Yeah.
feelings in the world around us, and how can we offer kindness.
That's why we need kindness on the digitalized. You need to be kind to someone on the digital. Cyberbullying was created. Why can't we create cyber kindness?
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
that's such
nice.
a
But Arjun, you know
beautiful
why
point.
it happens online? It happens online because there is no face. So when you have a friend and the friend is unkind, you go and complain. But when you do it online, there is no face. So the person feels really confident because you don't know who the person is. They've created an account and saying things to you, right? And that is
They
why
could
that
delete the account.
or
They
delete
could
it.
remove the account.
Yeah.
But once they've deleted it, you can't track the account.
Yeah, you can't.
So it's really very difficult to just complain that he was being unkind.
Yeah, you can't.
So
You-
now
difficult
such
for you to find.
cyberbullying is created. Many people are not just being unkind on cyberbullying. So when I saw this, we are posting the podcast episodes. If people are saying people nowadays, like if I were to be the best mathematician in the world, I'll write the 9 times table, okay? Then in the last sum, I made an error. All the others I made correct. They'll all point out that error.
Yes.
No one will appreciate all the other sums that I did correctly.
Yeah.
They'll only point the error. Like if I post a movie right now on digital, they'll point out the error there.
Yeah.
They won't point out how much effort you've done,
Yeah,
how
because-
good you've made it. Because all they know is that he did something wrong, we have to show it to him. He did something wrong, let's make fun of him.
Yeah.
But no one thought of being kind and saying in a constructive way. Like messaging like this. Hey, nice effort you've put in this movie, but I've seen this thing happen. Maybe next time you can prevent this from happening. No one wants to say it or type it in a constructive way.
Correct. That's true. People don't want to. And maybe that's the habit we need to change. And that also brings me to the point of how do you draw boundaries with kindness? Like a lot of times, Arjun would say that, mom, if you're just too kind in school, people are going to walk all over you. What are your thoughts? And how do you think that?
I think, which is why for me, kindness is not just about giving, it's also about receiving. And the reason I say that is because then it also brings the focus on, am I being kind to myself? So there are situations where you have to stand up for yourself and you have to speak up against something that is not okay. Being kind is not the same as being nice. Sometimes, like you said, offering constructive feedback may not be taken as being nice, but it's kindness to say I care, right? It comes from a space of care, to tell someone that, hey, you could have done this better, or I see the effort, but this, exactly what you said right now.
And you can improve it next time.
Yeah.
So that the other person won't feel as bad as saying, look at that, you made it so bad, just stop posting videos. Then saying, hey, you have done nice things, you have made a good podcast, but on this episode I noticed that something's wrong there. Could you next time change it?
Yeah. That's good, Arjun.
That's better. But
yeah, that's good.
But then the other person receiving the first one will be like, and then he'll try to report, block. Well, when he receives this information, he'll be like, okay, thanks, he'll reply, and then he'll work constructively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the way, that's the conversation that you would have to have, and you would have to spread that so that this behavior that you're talking about becomes a part of daily life.
And I have one more question for you. So, for children, what do you think one behavior they should do to spread kindness in their class or in their school or in their condo?
One, I feel like it should be the responsibility of grown-ups around them, because then it translates and trickles down. But I feel like if you really want to become kinder, one of the biggest things to start with is to start noticing, to become more aware. Because when you notice, when you're aware, then you recognize the ways in which you can offer kindness. If you see if you notice that animal there, okay, there's a stray who's hurt, you will, only if you notice will you be able to offer some help or kindness. When you see a friend today is not sitting with the group, when you notice that, or you're aware of your environment, is when you can offer, hey, are you okay? Do you want to join us for lunch? When you notice that, oh, this one's walking a little differently today, is only then can you go and ask, are you all right? Have you got hurt? Why are you walking different today? So for me, I think it, or even for example, just noticing, oh, the weather has changed, the season has changed, it's December, suddenly there's strawberry in the market. Because I think that also needs to extend to the environment around us. And that for me is the most basic thing. Start with just becoming more aware, noticing, paying attention. That for me is the start point of, you don't even have to sometimes do anything. Sometimes giving people space or not arguing or fighting is also being kind. But you can do that only when you recognize that, someone's on the edge, let me back off.
Yeah, just like absorbing and like just being slow.
Yeah.
But
Even to yourself, no?
Yeah.
Like sometimes noticing that, oh God, I'm really tired.
Yeah.
I need to give my body rest. Or I'm hungry. I must eat on time. So that's also something I think children have a way of being more tuned into their bodies. I feel adults don't.
yeah.
And that is, what is that? That's of being kind to your own self,
Yeah.
right? To actually listen, take moment to notice that I have powered through a lot. So I know so many people who are dealing with grief, but they're pushing through and powering through. Ask for help, reach out. That's a way of being kind to yourself too. For us, I think we recognized when we were doing all the research and making the brand that sustainability is something that if you're creating, you're not really sustainable because you're adding more, you're consuming more resources. But I think it became very pertinent for us to address sustainability from the Indian arts and crafts and textile point of view. So we wanted to support weavers
it.
and artisans and bring that textile craft to the forefront. And that's what we do at Love the World Today. It started as a kids clothing brand, and now we also make clothes for adults.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, great. So there are so many things that you're dabbling. You're a writer,
Yeah.
educator.
Yeah.
You're the dance teacher.
I'm a dancer. I'm a performing artist.
Performing
contemporary dance
artist.
artist.
And you have a store of your own.
Yeah.
How do you get the time? Yeah.
Also the books. You
And
forgot
writer.
to add the
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
and a
The book.
writer.
Yeah. How do I get the time?
How do you do this?
I don't.
When do you take a break?
I do. I take a lot of breaks. I do. And I think at a very young age, when I was 16, 17, I had the clarity that a lot of things interest me in life and that I wanted to pursue them all. So maybe my graph is not like this, like when you stick to one career and then there's like the growth is...
Yeah.
For me, it's like in its own pace.
Got it.
Things are growing and the practice is deepening, but I feel that everything feeds into the other and I still have a lot more interests. And I think there's some beauty in also saying that I'll design my life in the way I want. It's not always been easy,
Yeah.
but it works for me because I've made certain life choices to adapt to where my heart is most at peace.
So if you were to have a kindness superpower, what would it be?
It would be presence. So like offering presence. That if I'm with you, I am here with you in the present, fully talking to you. If I'm playing with my cat, I'm fully in that moment present and playing with my cat or my child. But offering presence. So if there's a Swiggy guy at the door who's giving me a parcel, really being present in that moment, receiving, offering a thank you, checking in, want water. But I think offering my being fully present with somebody in that moment is what I would want as a kindness superpower.
Arjun, can you please also ask for this? You know how Arjun spends time. Hi, mom. iPad is open. Spotify is open. There's music playing. How was it? Great. He basically repeats everything because he's just not with me at that point. Like, because he wants to go next.
I think, but that's also the pressure of that generation.
I don't know
They're
what
navigating
pressure
a
they're
lot.
having.
We may not get it, but I think to just deal with this, the way the brain functions is only changing
Really,
because
Arjun?
attention span is this much.
Maybe.
Not
What
really.
pressures do you have?
I said
Yeah,
maybe.
share with us.
Maybe. Tell us some pressures that you go through.
I don't want to.
Tell Dipna.
I don't have any pressures.
I'm glad. So the next time, please be present when we're having a
No.
conversation. I didn't buy him a screen for like the longest. He must have got this like 2 months ago. Because I was
This-
like, the minute
So
he
then
gets
wait till the
it,
novelty wears off.
yeah, I'd be this lost human. But also the other one kind of one act of kindness is just you being here today. You and I
Thank
don't know each other, and we Googled it, and we were like, okay, there is somebody who writes on this, and
Yeah.
so thank you so much, Dipna. It means a lot to both of us for you to take out time for us.
Thank
And,
you.
On a Saturday, it's a weekend, so yes.
Yeah, but it makes me so happy to start my weekend on a conversation like this, and with someone who I do not know,
Yes.
and two, also the age group. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just so inspired to know that at 11 you're thinking about this, Arjun, and it starts there. So I have no doubt that you are going to really think about, like, especially when you were talking about cyberbullying and cyber safety and cyber kindness. It's some really beautiful things that you've actually shared with me and expanded my understanding of, okay, there's this digital space and that also needs to be thought about. So thank you. And you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.